Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar with Reducer and Paige Wilson, who will be telling us about all the great savings you can make with Reducer and how some of our clients have already made those savings through their data in Xero and Dex. So Paige, I will hand over to you to go into more details.
Great. Thank you so much, Susie. So yeah, as Susie said, I am one of our accountant partnership managers here at Reducer. And I mean, if you haven't come across us already, I will be sharing a little bit more insight, but we essentially partner with accountants such as Zyla Accounting to help you save money across your utilities. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now. Just want to check with you, Susie, that's all coming through okay?
Yes, we've got that.
Great. So, good place to start is kind of the 5 W's. So, first of all, I'll go through who we are as an organisation, what exactly we do, more importantly, why we do it, and also the savings areas that we can help you save in. Go through an example of a report that we create. It will just be a demo one, but it'll make a bit more sense a little bit later on. And then finally, as well, if there are any questions, we can answer those as well. I've got a couple as well of kind of frequently asked questions that we can go through for you. So to start off with, who we are. So Joe is our CEO. He was previously the finance director of Carwell. And essentially how we came to be is during his time at Carwell, they moved offices and they basically found that he was spending astronomical amounts in this new office, causing their bills to kind of skyrocket. And being FD, he didn't have tons of time to be able to analyse that spend. So he went out to the market and tried to find someone that would be able to reduce that spend for him. Now, shock, there was no one. So that's when he saw the gap in the market. So he called his old uni housemate, Stu, who was a tech lead at GCHQ at the time. And he basically forced him to take a week off, a little bit sooner than he was probably hoping. And then the code and what he wrote in that week is what actually holds up the system as it is today. Fast forward 3 years, we are now a team of 20 rather than just being Joe and Stu. We've raised over £1 million of funding and we have analysed over £10 billion of spend for UK SMEs. So, and Susie, interrupt me at any point, by the way, if you have any questions. But what we essentially do is we are a connected purchasing app which helps reduce costs. And the way we do this is, as Susie said, we connect through your Xero. So if you're connected to any data capture tools such as Dex, we will analyse those bills to see exactly how much you are spending on your utilities. We will then compare those prices to hundreds of suppliers within our network. And we will create a cost savings report, which is completely personalised to you, outlining exactly where and how you can save. And I'll show you an example of that in a couple of slides. So once we've kind of got that report ready for you, you will receive an email from one of our client partnership managers who are there to essentially help and talk you through the process and do all of that hard work for you. So when you have that conversation, you'll agree your switching options and which ones you want to take up. And once that's agreed, we'll go away and do all of the hard work. So we'll be speaking to suppliers, creating all of that documentation for you. You can sit back and relax knowing that we're doing all of that, and we'll just let you know when the switch goes through and exactly what to expect next. And in terms of why we do it, well, Joe, unfortunately, wasn't an anomaly in the situation that he found while he was at Carwell. In fact, according to a survey that the Competitions and Market Authority did a couple of years back, UK SMEs are overpaying by £7 billion per year on their utilities, which it's a crazy statistic. I actually checked when I saw it to check that it wasn't a typo and that it was million. It is billion. So there's a lot of money that's going into those suppliers' pockets opposed to where it needs to be in yours and the clients. So that's,
I think we've seen that with energy bills at the moment. A lot of energy companies going under. There must have been some pricing issues there.
Absolutely. And actually, it's a really good point you make there, Susie, in regards to the energy market. Obviously, as we all know, that the prices have been rising since January. And then I think 3 weeks ago, might be slightly more, might be slightly less, there was one of the major converters that was across the UK and France that supplied the majority of our energy, actually had a fire. So since that point, what has essentially happened is obviously, for lack of a better expression, is supply and demand, and the prices are reflecting that right now. So what we're finding at the moment is a couple of things, and I'll talk about what we're doing about it as well at the end. But essentially, supplies are going bust, as you mentioned, but also within that, there's a lot of kind of the prices are kind of soaring for that reason. So I'll kind of talk about how we're caveating that when I go on to the savings areas, but it is it's an astonishing it's an astonishing rate that it is increasing by. But yeah, so I mean, as that figure as well that suggests that the majority of the people that are being overcharged is in energy, so that's kind of the main way to want to kind of focus on. And only 10% of SME business owners will actually regularly review their utility contracts. And if they were to switch, you can be looking at around 40% savings if they were to switch. Unfortunately, loyalty means nothing in the supplier world. So switching suppliers often is the cheapest way to do it. So these are the savings areas. So electricity and gas, I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Card payments, telecoms and broadband, mobile, waste and recycling, fuel and water. So if you're sat there thinking, oh, I don't actually have a premise, or it's a fully serviced premise, I can't find any savings. That's not strictly the case. If you use any one of those services, we are able to help you find savings in those. In fact, mobile, telecoms, broadband, and car payments are really quite big savings areas we're seeing at the moment. So definitely worthwhile if you don't have promises. In terms of the gas, what we are essentially doing is we have, I mean, obviously, Susie, you know a lot about our business model and how we kind of find those savings. But within gas and electric at the moment, we are only working with the 6 top suppliers. The government has estimated that there will be a dramatic downfall in terms of how many suppliers in gas and electric that there'll be. Obviously, the big are going to be those that are going to be most, they're going to be the ones that survive and actually probably end up buying and taking over those contracts. So we're doing, the energy prices are expected to stay rising for the next 14 months. So we are only putting clients into 2-year contracts. Reason for that being is we can then, when the prices start to drop, you'll be in the switching period. So we'll be able to re-switch you onto a lower rate once those prices start to drop. Okay, does that all make sense?
Great. Yeah.
Amazing. I realised I say this today, so it's kind of my world, but reiterating it back.
Yeah, I think the point you make about people might not think that they have any savings to be made, but even a mobile phone contract, everyone has one of those. So it might seem small, but it is worth looking into for anything that you have on that could be savings for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously one of those things that we obviously manage our own personal mobiles, and you just switch when the 2 years come up. But when it comes to work and kind of business mobiles, it's something that can sometimes be forgotten about. But yeah, there's definitely some really significant savings across.
Yeah.
Cool. So here this is the report. I've done a screenshot of a demo one of what your clients will see, Susie. So this is what it looks like. Now, the main things to kind of mention is In the top section, where it's got the boxes, they are completely interactive. So if you are to click on one of those, it will automatically take you down to the breakdown, as you can see for the electricity there, breaking down what that actually looks like. You can jump about in other areas. There's also on the left-hand side of the report, you'll see that says more details. If you click on that, it basically breaks down what you're currently spending and what your contract looks like, and what we are providing you with. So things like kilovolt ampage, for example, also looking at things like your standing charges. We'll break all of that down so you can see exactly what you're spending and how. And there is a really easy take deal button on there as well, as you can see in orange. If you click that, one of our client partnership managers will just get in touch with you and say, just confirming, and then it will all be done for you in literally one click. That's pretty much Reducer as a, I guess, is a very high level overview. Is there any questions that you have, Susie, or any questions that you think your clients might be interested to know?
I suppose just how long would the report take once it's connected to Zero?
Yeah, that's, oh, sorry.
How long is that process?
Yeah, really good question. So it is dependable. Obviously, with the energy crisis at the moment, those who have got the spend in energy, we're obviously trying to get those as quickly as possible. But it will be probably around a week to 2 weeks on average for those reports, being you connecting them to Zero, to our system, and then those reports being ready for your clients to see.
So it is a really quick turnaround time to make the savings nearly instantly if you're in the right contract period or renewal period.
Absolutely, yeah. And as I say, with energy at the moment, the way that it's working, that if one of your supplier goes out of contract, what they essentially have in place is Ofgem will give 30 days for them to switch in that period. If for any basically if they don't do anything, they'll just be switched onto a rate. They are under no legal obligation to have to honour the previous rate they're on, so they'll just be put on kind of the market average. However, you can switch in that 30 days. So we get a bit more of a note. We kind of know a couple of days before in terms of who's about to announce that they've gone bust. So we're really proactive in calling those clients that are on energy suppliers that have gone bust or about to go bust to ensure that they're not being put on those higher market rates. As you can imagine, they are significantly higher at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a good time for everyone to be thinking about that.
Absolutely.
So I suppose you explained about Reducer, but some people might wonder how does Reducer make their money?
Apologies. Yeah, really good question.
So shocked by the question.
Yeah, I needed some more time. No. Yeah, so the way we work is we receive a small fee from the supplier when your client switches. So works in a way that just as you would kind of expect. So they basically are attention to us for us providing them with a new client. So we just receive a one-off payment for making that switch.
Okay. Sounds fair. And I don't know if you can share the savings we've had with our clients, or like a general average saving for a client or for a business out there, so people can know like realistic figures to expect from Reducer.
Absolutely. I haven't got yours. I can quickly get that up on my other screen. But in terms of the average, we would expect that if a client is spending in one area and we can only find savings, the savings on average are around £1,651, and that's just in one switching area. If you were to up that to all 8 savings areas, that you're looking at just short of £5,000, so 4,922. Obviously, that's in savings, yeah. So it can differ massively. Obviously, it depends as well on how much you're currently spending with your supplier to see how much we can save. And as a bit of a disclaimer, obviously, with the energy prices at the moment, that may drop slightly just based on where the market is. In terms of your savings, what I'll do is I will pop you over a note and let you know so you can include it when you send it out.
I'll add it. So yeah, just for everyone to know that some of our clients have made savings. It's very real savings they've made, and it's very effective. So another question people might have is around the type of suppliers they could switch to. We're very conscientious about being sustainable businesses, and obviously everyone's aiming to get to net neutral. So is there a way that our clients could choose suppliers that will help reduce their carbon footprint rather than increase it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we basically will, when we create the reports, we'll often do around 4 to 5 different supplier options. They often won't include the green energy based on the fact that we often offer the cheapest rates at that point. However, the savings consultation that their client partnership manager will have with them will essentially allow them to reprice it, so get a price for green energy, and then let them know, and that will literally take about an hour or so to come back to them on that. So yes, we work with quite a few green energy suppliers, and we actually now work in electricity, gas. We've got green suppliers, waste, water, and also mobile. So it's not just the energy sector. We've got the savings, which green.
Who are the mobile suppliers?
Yeah, so I don't know if I don't know if I'm allowed to say,
okay, no.
but no, I just only because it's just getting confirmed in terms of how all of their things on their branding on their website. But we are working with them now, and their client partnership manager can let them know.
That's very exciting to know.
Yeah,
I think a lot of businesses will want to put in place suppliers that will help them be sustainable themselves. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Hopefully there'll be more savings areas as
well. Just a final question, I think, to finish off. How do you ensure the security and compliance with Reducer? Because clients will obviously be sharing all of their purchasing data with you. What's the process Reducer have in place, and how can we ensure that the data is secure?
Absolutely. So on the data, I guess the just general security side, obviously our CTO was an ex-GCHQ employee as their tech lead. So as you can imagine, security compliance is at the forefront of what he has created. The way we do that is, first of all, by being an AWS hosted organizer. So they're obviously same as Zero, also the industry standard. In terms of compliance and specifically GDPR, when we are connecting any of our data, the way we collect, store, and share data is completely GDPR compliant, regardless of if you are a one-person individual in a business or if you're a multinational organization. So we'll never share your data for anything other than with any kind of third parties for marketing reasons. And actually, the data that is there can be viewed and deleted by all the users. And finally, in terms of how we're collecting that data, we're only collecting the data that we need to quote. So bills detailing site addresses, for example. We're never going to take any payroll or any sensitive data at all.
Yeah. And I think once a report is run, the connection is kind of lost, because I know for some clients we had to reconnect to Zero to know if there was any further deals they could get. So
absolutely, yeah. So we won't keep their data. We'll have it for a certain amount of time to make sure that we've got so we can collect the data we need to be able to quote. However, that isn't kept on our system indefinitely, as you mentioned, and also your clients, you and your clients can also disconnect themselves if they want to for any reason.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I just suppose, like, for anyone watching, if they wanted to connect to Reducer, please just get in touch with us, and we will set up the connection and run the report for you. And as Paige said, the report will come very quickly, and we can see what savings could be made.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Paige. That was so interesting, and really interesting to hear about the energy companies, because that's very top of mind. It's on the news like all the time at the moment. So good to know that businesses could save on that as well in this current crisis.
Absolutely, and thank you
You
so
could
much
sort out
for.
you could sort out the petrol shortage as well. That would be great.
Yeah, I think a
We have
call
the
to my broadband supplier is getting a call for sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I look forward to hopefully helping lots of your clients.
Great, thank you so much.